Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day so far. So today I want to talk to you about something a little bit weird, and this is my skin scorching journey, let's call it. So presumably if you saw the thumbnail and you saw a bit of what my stomach looked like, you are probably shocked and horrified that I did this to myself using a fairly innocent seeming hot water bottle. And so was I. I physically could not believe that a hot water bottle had done this to my stomach. I had no idea. So let me take you back. Let me take you back to how this all occurred, how I figured it out, what was going on, and why I was burning the heck out of my skin with a hot water bottle. Let's begin our story. So I've always been a fan of a hot water bottle. I've got one up my jumper as we speak. Don't think I haven't learnt my lesson. I'll explain how I have. But yeah, I always have a hot water bottle on the go, at least one. I am permanently freezing cold. I especially have them on my tummy because I also have extremely painful periods, and hot water bottles, as you will know if you are female and have periods, are extremely comforting when you have period pain. I also for my entire life have suffered badly from IBS, and when I have bad flare-ups, stomach pain and bloating is really extremely bad, and there is nothing that helps like a hot water bottle. So I have always enjoyed a hot water bottle. It was probably only maybe 2 years ago, I would say, that it actually caused me a problem. Up until then, no issues, always had hot water bottles on the go. A couple of years ago, I developed this rash, I guess you would call it, this mottled, scaly looking appearance of my tummy. And it took quite a while for me to actually not necessarily notice it, but kind of like think about what's going on here and look at it and actually think anything of it. Reason being is, I don't know how closely and how clearly you can see the photo of my tummy, but it is, obviously I've had 2 children, so I have a lot of stretch marks on my tummy, which are perfectly normal, perfectly fine, but I guess for a long time I think I just thought this was like something from post-pregnancy, because when this started I had only recently had my son. So yeah, I think I just thought this is one of these weird pregnancy things, because there are so many weird things that happen to your body having had babies or during pregnancy or after pregnancy, that I just thought, well, this is just a new one. This is apparently what my stomach looks like now. And I never really thought about it that much. And then the most random of random things popped up on my Facebook. So I think it was like somebody else posted this article. I'll try and find it if I can, but if not, it was just literally an article that had a picture of a woman's tummy with this mottled, strange looking, scaly looking red skin with this rash, and it said hot water bottles, the unknown dangers. It was something very dramatic like that, and I was like, what? That is exactly what my tummy looks like. And I think at this point I was starting to like investigate, what is this? It hasn't always been there. How do I get rid of it? Is this some kind of mutation of my stretch marks that I didn't know was going to happen? What is this? I was just starting to wonder and think about how I could improve it. And this article, as you know, Facebook knows everything, even our deepest thoughts before we do. So it showed me this article and was like, here you go, here's what's going on with you. So I clicked on it, and as I was reading it, I was like, oh my God, I've done this to myself. I've been doing this to myself. And it is caused by hot water bottles. Too hot for too long over a sustained period of time can cause this to happen to any part of your body. So I had it mainly on my stomach and also at the top of my thighs, because I will sometimes put a hot water bottle like between my legs, so just because it's comforting and it's nice and warm. And so I also was getting this skin like at the top of my thighs, stomach, sometimes even on my back. If I was having period pain, I was dealing with back pain, I would have one front and back, so I was getting it on my back as well. So instantly I was like, this is what it is. Reading about this article, this is what's happened, this is what it is. And it can be permanent. It can, like, depending on how badly you've burned the skin, depending on how long you've been burning it for, etc, etc. Apparently it can be incredibly hard, if not impossible, to undo once it's that bad. So I was like, okay, well, horrified, like really, really sad that this was what my tummy was going to look like forever, which I wouldn't have minded if it had just been stretch marks or caused by the baby, but the fact that it was caused by such a stupid thing on my part was pretty infuriating. So here's how I got rid of mine completely, and I was able to get rid of it completely. It has recently come back because I've been going through a flare-up of IBS, and I just cannot. For me, I'm making a choice. Like, I know I'm going to mess up my tummy, but I cannot live without hot water bottles, and they need to be hot, otherwise it doesn't help me. So I know that may sound stupid to someone who doesn't experience the same pain as me, or who isn't comforted, or doesn't find that anything else doesn't work for them, but that's something that is just my stupid life decision, that I will occasionally redo it to myself. But I have found that immediately just stopping using hot water bottles, it's very obvious. Now that you know that that's what's doing it, if you have the same issue, then it's very, very obvious and very clear that the number one way to solve it is to stop using hot water bottles. So that's what I did the first time. I just stopped using them altogether. If I really, really needed one, then I would put it over the top of my jumper instead of putting it up my jumper, which is why I always did it. I'd put it against my bare skin. I always put boiling water in them, which you are categorically not supposed to ever do. It's not safe, it's not a good idea, and it is going to burn you, but that's what I was doing. So I was putting a hot water bottle, and I'll show you, this is the one I was using, a very thin cover. You can see it's super, super thin, and boiling hot water in here, and then putting it directly on my skin. No layer in between, no vest, no top, no nothing, straight on my skin. And as soon as it cooled down a little bit, I'd take the cover off and have it completely naked against my skin. So the first thing is, stop using hot water bottles altogether. If you cannot, for like similar reasons to me, pain management, things like that, then obviously it's got to be warm but not scalding hot water, and you've got to put it on top of something, whether it's a vest or outside of your jumper. You cannot put it directly against your skin if you want this to go away or go down, or to avoid getting it in the first place, which is obviously the most sensible option. So that's number one. Apparently tretinoin, like retinol, is also effective at getting this to go down or getting it to go away if you have already caused the scalding and the burning on your stomach. So that's something also to try if it's very severe and just ceasing the use of the hot water bottle is not working. Tretinoin, I've also heard, get my words out, that derma rolling can also help, but that would obviously be something to speak to your dermatologist about, or an expert, because obviously I'm not one of those. So just to clarify, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse, I'm not anybody of any use to anyone when it comes to medical issues. I just know about this because it happened to me and I got rid of it. So I'm only sharing with you what has worked for me, what caused this for me. If you are not sure what is causing yours, if yours doesn't quite look like mine, then of course the right thing to do would be to see a doctor or even a dermatologist, or someone who just has some kind of medical knowledge when it comes to skin. But I am just here to tell you this is what it was for me, this is what helped me, and this is my experience. I'd love to know if this has happened to you, if you knew what it was, if you realise, if you've heard of this before, because I had no idea until that article popped up that this is what was doing this to me. It was quite the education, let me tell you. So if you have done this to yourself and like me, you are very upset, very annoyed at yourself and very sad that your tummy is going to look like this, just take comfort from mine. Completely is gone, completely gone. You cannot see it, and sometimes it flares up again if I start using really hot water bottles again, and again each time it goes away. Not to say that you can get away with doing this forever and you can use really scalding hot water bottles and it won't become permanent, because it certainly can, or can certainly be extremely hard, much harder than it was for me to get rid of it. So of course the advice is not to do this in the first place, not to get it in the first place, not to use boiling water, not to use very thin covers on your hot water bottle, and not to put them directly on your naked skin. But if you've already done the damage, take heart from the fact that you can certainly improve it, and it may even completely go away altogether. So yeah, if you found anything else that works to get rid of this, then of course let us know in the comments down below. If you have any other questions about this condition, this skin rash, whatever we want to call it, please let us know in the comments down below. I would love to see you in the next video. Otherwise, take care for now. Bye.